Last Tuesday I buried my husband, but the truth was even worse. I had left the city poor and alone 5 years ago. She married him when I had no money. I worked hard and I never told her the truth. One night at a resort suite I found her and her ex. They were close. I stood in the dark and watched. I had a reservation at the same hotel as a guest. I felt betrayed and shocked. I had a secret plan. I wanted her to know what she lost. I kept my voice calm, but my hands shook. I thought of the blood oath we made long ago. She had broken the oath. I wondered, should I expose her in the lobby now? My name is Marco. I tell this story now in the first person. I was a different man 5 years ago. I had no money and no job that mattered. She was my wife then. We made a small promise. We said a blood oath in a cheap room. We vowed to never leave each other for money. I remember the cheap suite, the quiet concierge, and the small complimentary breakfast. We were poor, but we were honest. Then I left to find work abroad. I wrote letters. I sent money when I could. I did not tell her about my plan. I did not tell her about the hotel where I slept or the people I met. I wanted a life for both of us. I worked long nights. I signed contracts. I learned the law for business. I kept my old clothes in a box. I told myself patience is a wealth. She told me she would wait. She said she loved me. I trusted that word. Months passed. Her voice on the phone changed. She laughed with new friends. She used the word vacancy to mean space in her heart. One night her call stopped. Then I heard she married quickly. She married my old friend. He was kind to her. He had a small job and a good suit. He promised her a better life. I felt pain like a cold wind. I returned home in secret. I booked a suite at a seaside resort. I wrote my name on the reservation. I walked into the lobby with my new face. Housekeeping brought my bag. The receptionist smiled and handed a key. I saw my old home from the hotel window. I saw the city lights and the empty street where we once walked. I watched her on social pages. She posted photos with him. She looked happy. I could wait more. But the blood oath was in my heart. She had betrayed our promise. I felt the need to act. I planned a simple test of truth. I would meet her at the resort that night. The concierge said the restaurant was full. I sat in the lobby and waited. A man in a cheap shirt arrived and sat with her. My breath stopped. What would I do next? I walked to the hotel bar as if by chance. My hands were steady now. I ordered a drink and sat near a window. I remembered our vows again. I thought of the blood oath and the promise to be honest. She entered with him. She wore a dress that shone under the amenity lights. Her smile was bright. He held her hand. They sat with their drinks at a table close to mine. The receptionist passed by and did not know me. Housekeeping cleared the next table. The world felt slow. I watched them talk. He touched her arm like he owned the moment. I felt anger burn, but I kept still. I wanted to use the hotel to reveal the truth. I had a private room booked for a fake meeting. The reservation name was mine. I called the concierge and asked for help. I told the concierge I needed a testimony. He agreed to help if I paid. I agreed. The plan was simple. I would bring proof to the suite and show it to her. I had old letters and a new contract. The contract said I had built a company. It had my name and a new logo. I also had photos of my work in another country. I had been saving for this moment. At 10, I left a note for her at the table. The note said, "Meet me in suite 709. I have one question." She read the note and looked up. Her eyes met mine across the room. She was surprised. She stood and hugged him, then left with a small excuse. They walked fast past the concierge desk and into the elevator. I followed quietly. The elevator doors closed with a soft sound. The hallway smelled of complimentary soap. I walked to suite 709 and stood outside. My heart hit my ribs. I closed my eyes and remembered the nights we slept on a thin mattress. I remembered the cold coffee and her warm hand. I wanted to say, "Why did you leave me?" I wanted to say, "Why did you break the oath?" The suite door opened and she stepped out. Behind her, the man kissed her cheek. She looked at me and did not speak. I said, "Did you forget our promise?" She saw the papers in my hand. The man looked at me with new fear. The air felt thin. What happens now? I stepped into the suite and closed the door softly. The room had a small view of the sea. A lamp gave a warm light. I placed the contract on the table. Her face changed when she read the words. I used simple language. I said, "I am not poor now. I am the owner of a company. I bought several hotels. I booked this suite under my other name." She said nothing. I showed the photos of my work and the bank letter. I did not shout. I spoke in a calm voice. The man from the bar looked angry. He tried to grab the papers. I moved them away. I said, "You broke our promise and you lied. You said you would wait." She started to cry. She said, "I am sorry. I thought you were gone." I said, "You married him. You kissed him. You forgot our oath." She covered her face. I felt a storm inside. I had planned to take nothing. I had planned only truth. Then I remembered the blood oath and how she had sworn to be honest. I asked her to say those words again. She could not. I called the concierge and asked for a witness. He came with 2 staff from reception. They sat near the table. I told them the story in short lines. I told them about my first job, the suite we shared, the promise at midnight. The staff listened and nodded. The man who married her wanted to leave. He asked for the key to the room. I told him to stay. I gave him 2 choices. Respect the truth in public now, or I will tell the lobby and the world. He laughed and said I could not prove anything. I opened my phone and showed a video of our old home. I had a voice message where she had said, "I will wait for you." The staff looked ashamed. The man stood up and walked to the door. He dropped a glass by accident. It broke with a loud sound. The concierge looked at him with a new face. I had more. I had documents that showed I had bought a small chain of hotels. I had the keys to rooms and a note from a partner. He swallowed. He said, "You lied to us. I will leave." She begged him not to go. He left anyway. I stood alone with her in the suite. The sea wind touched the curtains. I asked, "Will you say the oath again? Will you keep your promise now?" She was quiet. The door opened. A new sound came from the lobby. Footsteps. Someone was coming. The truth was about to become public. I let the truth shine in the lobby that night. I walked down the corridor with the concierge and the staff. The receptionist read the note before the small crowd. I showed the contract, the photos, and the old voice message. People in the lobby stopped. The man who left saw the crowd and turned pale. She stood by me and said, "I never knew you became so strong." I spoke calmly. I said, "I forgave, but I will not forget." I asked for honesty first. I did not yell. I did not ruin anyone with anger. I asked for respect. The small hotel staff helped me check out. I gave the receptionist money and a tip. I felt no joy in revenge. I felt peace in truth. The lesson I learned is simple. Wealth can change clothes, but it cannot heal a broken promise alone. Trust and truth are the real treasures. If someone breaks an oath, you must choose your path. I chose honesty and calm. I left the resort with new keys in my pocket and one final line in my heart: keep your promises, or the truth will find you. The crowd faded back to the sea. The lobby lights dimmed. I walked away and closed one chapter. A small footstep followed behind me. Was it new love or memory? I did not answer.